Welcome back to Better Pet Parents. Today we'll be discussing advice from an insider. This will be a series that will continue from time to time here in our weekly discussions. And in the advice from an insider series, it'll always be topics that I think that will be beneficial to pet parents everywhere to hear about the professional side of animal care, whether that's groomers, vet techs, veterinarians, anybody working professional with animals. It'll be topics that apply to that side of things and sharing it with the general public, because I don't think that type of thing is being talked about enough. So as somebody who has worked professionally in the animal scene, there are some topics that I'd like to share with you guys. And today we're going to start with the first one, the one that I think is the most important one, and that is approaching relationships with your vet. I am not a veterinarian, I'm a groomer, but I have worked with veterinarians, so I have a little bit of insight on this that I do feel passionately about. And regardless of the differences between us professionals, whether, that's groomer, vet tech, veterinarian, whatever it is, trainer, boarding, whatever it is, we all share a common ground in the industry. So while I'll never be able to speak to what it's actually like to be a veterinarian, I do have a lot of perspective on the issue, and I'd love to get that thought going in everybody's mind, because I think that one of the best things we can do as proactive pet parents is respect the professionals in your pet's life. I think that veterinary professionals are very overlooked people. It's something I feel very passionately about. And I'd love to spread some positivity on this subject by asking the general public to imagine what it's like to be on the other side of that. Because there's such high expectations for animal care professionals. And in this series, as we continue this series from time to time, it'll always be to shed insight on things that can help you better understand the professionals in your pet's life, but also help you be a better client to those professionals. Because if you're a better client to those professionals, they will respect you more. You will be the exception to the general rule. And at the end of the day, you can be a better pet parent to your pet if you better understand how all those relationships should work at their best. So today we're going to talk about approaching relationships with vets. I think that it's very important to mention in this first topic that we need to occasionally draw parallels. So what I mean by that is, think about how you are when you go to the doctor and draw the parallel to how it is when you take your pet to the doctor. One thing that I've really noticed over the years in the veterinarians that I have known, as a pet parent myself and from other people, other clients in my life and things, is that there's a very, very personal expectation about veterinarians. And that becomes a very intimidating and overwhelming part of their daily life. I know that me personally, when I go to the doctor, I don't share every detail about my personal life with my doctor. I know that I have an appointment with that doctor and that my time in the exam room is not indefinite. I know that I can only contact that doctor during business hours. I think that people have a very realistic set of expectations about their own doctors that they don't also apply to their veterinarians. I know that a lot of the veterinarians that I've known over the years have talked about clients coming in, and there's just such a personal component to that relationship that they share everything going on in their personal life. These vets know everything about everything. And I would really encourage everybody to keep in mind that it's the client's responsibility to maintain a level of professionalism with their veterinarian, just like they would with their own doctors. It's also important to draw parallels like this, because while I have a very great respect for veterinarians and always will, there's this component too that you do have to find the right fit, just like you would have to find the right fit for your own doctor. When you're looking for your own doctor, you might say, I didn't care for that doctor's bedside manner. I'm going to move on to the next one and see if I can find a better fit somewhere else. Sometimes you have to do that with a veterinarian. Sometimes you might not have a good experience with the staff at a particular clinic and you feel the need to go to another one. I understand that there's a set of preferences about being a client. And every client has the right to navigate that in their own way and try to find the clinic that's going to be a good fit for them. But I would encourage everybody as you do that to remember that your veterinarian is a doctor, and to try to treat your experience with your veterinarian with as much professionalism as you would treat your own experience with your own physicians. Because I think when we can tell ourselves that we're not looking for a new best friend, we're looking for a doctor for our loved one, that becomes a more professional experience for both client and veterinarian. Veterinarians just have so much pressure on them to provide a level of personalization that I think that human physicians aren't expected to provide. And I'll never be able to put the exact right words to that thought, but I hope it's coming across at least the way I intend for it to. That I know that when we're in the exam room with our pets, we expect for our veterinarians to love and cherish our animals as much as we do. And I promise you that they wouldn't be a veterinarian if they didn't want to help people and animals, if they didn't love animals, because there are so many other things that they could do with their life that would be easier than being a veterinarian, I promise you. But I think that sometimes people really get their feelings hurt at the vet because they expect such a level of personalization. And I would just ask everybody to remain professional on this topic and don't treat them any way that you wouldn't treat your own doctors in your own life. Don't expect anything from them that you wouldn't ask of your own doctors. So this is just something that I really feel very passionately about, that when you're looking for a vet, you do have to find the right one. I personally, as a pet parent, went through a few myself. And there are some that I didn't feel like had the bedside manner that I cared for, and I moved on and found other ones that were better suited for my pet's needs and for my needs. And so I know that not every vet is right for everybody, but having the right set of expectations about your vet is such an important thing about being one of their better clients. When you're a great client at a veterinary clinic, you're the type of client that gets talked about positively behind your back. That means that your vets and your vet techs and the staff at that clinic are going to say that client is always respectful on the phone. If that client has ever had an issue about anything, they've addressed it with us privately instead of going online and writing an unreasonable review. They show up on time for their appointments. They respect the doctor's time. They understand that sometimes there's emergencies and they might have to wait for a minute in the exam room, and they've never been ugly about that. They don't ask their vet if they can pay 2 weeks after the service. I'm just saying it's very important to mention in this conversation that veterinarians are running businesses. And if you wouldn't go to the grocery store and ask if you can pay in 2 weeks, you do not need to say that to your vet. And I can't tell you how many vets have a list of stories a mile long about all the people that have asked if they can pay them later. And there is just so much to being a veterinarian, and the general public needs to stop for just a second and think about it, because anything you can do to be the type of client who gets talked about positively behind your back, you're going to be the exception, that veterinary clinic. Veterinarians are very, very busy, overwhelmed people. And we talked about this in another one of my videos. You think about all the specialists that are in human medicine, dentistry, dermatology, urologist, OBGYN, internist, gastroenterologist, all these things, all these specialties. Well, the veterinarian is all of them. And while there are specialties within the veterinary world, most clients don't want to go to a specialist. So on any given day, the primary care veterinarian has to be all of those things, has to wear all of those hats. So when you have that going on, and you have this expectation of so much personalization that people come to the exam room with that they want from their veterinarian. It can be a lot to deliver on. And I would just encourage everybody to treat the staff at your veterinary clinics with as much respect as possible, because there's going to be a lot of situations in your pet's life that can become very emotional. And I would encourage you not to take it out on the staff at those clinics, because veterinarians are always working for patients who cannot speak to them. I'll never be able to articulate what a hard job it is to be a veterinarian. I can't imagine, but I have the utmost respect for the people who do it, because I have a small understanding of what's involved in it from working closely with veterinarians on a professional level, and from knowing so many veterinarians in my own pet parenthood journey and having so much respect for them. Try to put yourself in your veterinarian's shoes. You know, we've talked so many times here before, Better Pet Parents, about putting yourself in your pet's shoes. Today, I want to encourage you to put yourself in your vet's shoes, because your vet is expected to wear all those hats of all those specialties, deliver on a level of personalization that is not expected from human physicians, maintain all the responsibilities of managing a small business, and just juggle so many different things on a given day between emergencies and regular appointments and clients that are dealing with very emotional situations. It's a very overwhelming profession. Now, if you ever feel like you've been going to a vet and it's not a good fit, it's okay. Go find another one that you like better. But don't judge veterinarians on unreasonable things. It's okay to say, I prefer a different bedside manner from this veterinarian, and I'm not getting it, so I think I need to move on and find a different fit. That's okay. But what's not okay is judging them too harshly on a profession that we don't do ourselves. You know, you can't expect them to deliver on anything you wouldn't expect from your own physician. You know, I would say that I feel a lot of sympathy for these veterinarians that are working so hard to run small clinics, and then you have clients that get on the internet and say the ugliest things in reviews because they don't understand what actually happened at that visit. For example, a lot of clients get very upset because a veterinarian cannot work miracles and the patient cannot speak for themselves, and it can become a very heightened emotional situation where the veterinarian ends up having to be on the butt end of a lot of that aggression a lot of times. So it's okay to search until you find the one that's right for you, but it's not okay to expect too much from them, an unreasonable amount from them, whether that be leniency on when to pay veterinary bills, whether that be miracle cures that they can't deliver on, whether that be undivided attention if they're overwhelmed with emergencies. Sometimes people just don't understand what's going on behind the doors of veterinary clinics. And I would encourage each and every one of you, if you have a veterinarian in your life who you love and trust, please tell them thank you, because you can't imagine how overwhelming that profession is, and how smart you have to be to do it well, and everything that they deal with on a daily basis. It is so important to express our gratitude to them. So today I want everybody to give this some specific thought. Definitely take the time to find a veterinarian who you like and trust, because that is the best thing that you can do as a pet parent, is have a veterinarian in your pet's life who you know you can depend on and who you know you trust. But if it ever isn't the right fit, just politely move on and find one that is, and try to put yourself in their position, and have respect for what they're doing. Because like I said earlier, they don't have to be doing this, and there's a lot of easier jobs that they could be doing. The reason that every vet is a vet is because they wanted to help animals. And I would just encourage everybody to put their feelings aside and realize that fact today. Let us know your thoughts on this subject. We'd love to know what you think. And like I say, make sure that you express your own gratitude to the wonderful veterinarians and staff at those clinics in your own life, because they're working hard. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being one of the pet parents out there that would consider a topic like this. Thank you for sticking it out for today's discussion. And thank you for being one of the better pet parents.